what a wild divisional round weekend. That was crazy. I think if there's any 49er fans who survived without having a heart attack or a stroke, because of that game, welcome back to the show. We're going to go ahead and dive right into that first. We need to talk about it. And we're going to start recapping 49ers versus Packers. Mike, I was pissed off for about 3.5 quarters here. And really for most of the game, I didn't feel confident that the 49ers were going to win this one until, I think there was a pivotal moment in the game where Brock Purdy kind of, scrambled out to the left and picked up, I want to say like 7 yards, down near, it was probably inside the 10-yard line. And it was at that moment where, I sort of thought, okay, the momentum's starting to shift back in our favor. I can kind of calm down a little bit. And I know I'm jumping to the end of the game. And really, I watched this game fully from like a fan perspective. I'm not taking notes. I want to enjoy the game and just, tell it how I experienced it as a fan. So if I jump, all over the place, bear with me. We're going to get to like key moments in the game and we might go like back and forth.
Was that moment before or after the missed field goal for the Packers? Was that the final
after.
drive?
That was the final 49er drive.
Okay, yeah. For me, it was that missed field goal. I was like, this game's over. Niners are winning this. I don't care. I know how it goes. I know that was a momentum killer. It's like the Packers could have been up. They could have gone and got a touchdown if they actually did that, right? But they didn't. If they had, the game was over. The Packers are winning this game. But they kick a field goal and they miss. Attempt to get up 7. Instead, they stay up 4. I'm like, the only thing that's going to not give this game to the Niners is if Brock Purdy or somebody fumbles. If Brock Purdy throws a pick or if somebody fumbles. That missed field goal, man. And then we'll get into the other games, but the Bills missing a field goal at the end of the game too. It's just like, that was a big reaction for me. It was like, okay, there's 2 divisional playoff games getting completely decimated by missed field goals. It sucks when it happens, but that's the nature of football. They were both outdoor games. What are you going to do, right?
Dude, okay, so real quick, I want to talk about this. Every single game this year, I picked the 49ers, right? But there was one game in particular, and it was against the Eagles that had a condition. Do you remember what that condition was?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Your camera's frozen. Yeah, but you're good.
The rain.
This 49ers team, I don't know what it is. I don't know why Kyle Shanahan doesn't like adjust the way that they practice during the rain, but I swear I don't remember a team that is so bad in the rain. Also, Mike, if you want to click out and click back in,
keep going.
To fix it. Man, why didn't I even mention that? There was sort of talks that it was going to probably rain, during this Packers game. And I didn't even think like, oh, wow, that's going to have a huge impact on the game, because it always does with this team. I've said it several times. I feel like on this podcast, I'm like, or maybe just talking to people about the 49ers. The rain is this team's kryptonite. And then the 49ers somehow all in one game were able to survive the rain, survive Shanahan making questionable decisions throughout the entire game. Like, Shanahan always has that moment in every single playoff run where it's like, what are you doing? Run the football. What are you doing? And I was sitting there on the couch like, dude, get out of your own way. Just run the ball. And so Shanahan didn't, I think, call that great of a game. and he made questionable decisions before half to not try and go down the field and score. But um, man, like, I was just like, "You're running with Juwan Jennings. You have McCaffrey. You've got Mitchell. You've got Mason. You've got Kittle. You've got Ayuk. You can you can put the ball in anyone else's hands. No disrespect to Juwan Jennings, but I've never seen him play running back, and I think he's one of the slowest wide receivers that the 49ers have. He's probably the most physical wide receiver they have and one of the best blocking wide receivers that I mean, maybe in the entire NFL. Juwan Jennings is a dog, but I don't know, man. Trying something new just kind of screamed to me like get out of your own head, Kyle. What is this? And yeah, that's one play and the play got blown up anyway. But it was just like, man, is he like what's going on up there? And then there was a design run play to Brock Purdy. Um, I think it was in the second half, and Purdy's rolling out right, and he decides to run and runs out of bounds for like a 2 yard gain, and I'm like, dude, just run, have one of your elite players just run forward. Don't run like, they were running side to side, like going off tackle runs the entire game. And it's like the quickest way to the end zone is just right up the gut. The Packers don't have that great of a run defense. And I was just like, I was melting down. I was like having a meltdown in my mind. I was pissed off the entire time. So going back to my point, Shanahan had a bad game, in my opinion. Brock Purdy had a terrible, he was also very bad. He had several interceptions that should have been picked off. One that should have gone to the house. But Brock Purdy came up in the end, and I think was like 5 of 7 or 6 of 7. I think on his last drive. This was like the Cleveland game all over again. But Jake Moody stepped up. Juwan Jennings stepped up. Dre Greenlaw stepped up. And the 49ers got it done. Oh, Diamador Lenore stepped up. He had a great game too. Yeah. I mean, you could probably hear it in my voice. I'm like fired up right now. Shanahan was making my blood pressure go through the roof. And my brother was complaining the entire time that I was being so negative. And, it is what it is. But all right, they overcame those circumstances. And then also they were down by 5+ in the fourth quarter, which Shanahan hasn't won a game yet. They were 0-30 before that. They
Yeah.
overcame that. They overcame the rain. And they fucking won. Excuse my French. They won.
I did take notes during the game. If you want me to go through them,
Yeah, go for it.
in that case, we can kind of go like quarter by quarter and stuff. It shouldn't take too long. I just figured I can read them off, and you can kind of react as I go.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I will say one thing though about, and it's probably going to show up in the notes here, but that that fourth quarter stat for Shanahan, it's a funny stat, and we've mentioned it multiple times this season where they have gotten behind and they end up losing the game, whether it was like the Vikings game or the Browns game or whatever game it was, or the Ravens game, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
like once they get behind, it's like you hit that fourth quarter. For some reason, Shanahan can't do it. I think this game was a little, I don't know, misconstrued or whatever, because they came into the fourth quarter down 7, but they were literally lining up to kick a field goal
Yeah.
on that first play. So it's like if they had done that in the end of the third quarter, we wouldn't be talking about it,
Yeah.
But regardless, I mean, hey, it's a comeback nonetheless, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we'll get into it. The Packers start the game with 3 trips to the red zone and only get 6 points to show for it. That was huge. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
one of the major differences in this game. Obviously 2 field goals and one very big 4th-and-1 stop. I understood the Packers going for it. I know in our group chat, Lorenzo was like, why did they not take the points? It's like, well, I'm sure the analytics say to go for it,
You're talking about on the QB sneak?
Yeah, the QB sneak 4th-and-1.
I thought it was a good decision to go for it. Like,
Yeah.
they were driving down the field and they just needed 1 yard. And like, all right, no disrespect to the 49ers defensive linemen, but they've been, in recent weeks, they've been getting bullied. And we saw it in this game. They were getting like, there were runs up the middle. So why wouldn't a QB sneak for like 1 yard, if that? They gave the 49ers, I think, a generous spot on that play where if they spotted the ball for a first down, it wouldn't have been overturned to, be a turnover on downs anyway.
Right. Yeah. So long story short, 3 red zone trips for the Packers, and I think all in the first quarter, and only 6 points to show for it. Then Debo's lost early in this game with a shoulder injury, and obviously I think that was a big loss, and it may have been part of the reason why the Niners offense was kind of not quite itself early on in this game. Some could argue it was rust. I mean, Purdy's passes were kind of all over the place. I kind of blame that on the rain. But losing Debo would certainly affect the game plan, you know. And then my next 3 notes are Darnell Savage dropped interception, which was a horrible pass by Brock Purdy. That's the one you're talking about that should have been a pick 6. 1,000%. Dropped by Darnell Savage. Darnell Savage gives a big touchdown to Kittle. I don't know what Savage was doing. He hesitated, and Kittle, instead of cutting left or right, he just went up and did a post, and he just kept running full speed, and Savage lost him. Touchdown.
Which was a dime by Purdy.
It was a good pass. And, yeah. And then Darnell Savage also gives up a later touchdown to Christian McCaffrey by missing an open field tackle. Absolutely horrible missed tackle. Darnell Savage fucked this game up for the Packers on 3 very big plays. I mean, yeah, just you take those 3 plays into consideration and you flip them the other way. Who knows, right? One play before that Christian McCaffrey touchdown, this is way up in the third quarter. George Kittle got a big first down, and on that play, I couldn't help but notice. I saw it in the corner of my eye because I'm watching Kittle. He catches the ball. He gets the first down. It was like a third down pass, whatever. And I noticed a Packers defender running out of bounds. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why isn't he going towards him and tackling him? And then I see the replay, and I see it's Juwan Jennings blocking the living shit out of this dude and throwing him into the Packers bench. Immaculate. Okay. That was awesome to see. Speaking of Juwan Jennings, he had a hell of a game. With 10 minutes left in the game, Jennings caught a beauty of a pass from Purdy. I've seen a tweet from Ted Nguyen saying that this pass was is a little lucky because the moment that Purdy, if you know what I'm talking, it's the pass where he kind of rainbow throws this thing, and Keyshawn Nixon, number 25, he jumps and he tries to get a hand on it. And I'm talking the football is this close to his fingertips. And it goes down, and Juwan Jennings is full extension catching this thing. The moment that Purdy throws this pass, Keyshawn Nixon's just standing there. He's free to go in any direction. I don't understand how this pass was completed, and yet it was. And when you watch it over, it's dude, that couldn't have been any better. But at the same time, to Ted Nguyen's point, what an insane attempt of a throw. That it was a crazy throw. I'm not saying that it was pure luck, but there had to be some for that to be completed, I think.
Yeah, so initially, I know exactly the play that you're talking about, and I'm going to pull it up in a second because Brian Baldinger does a little breakdown of I think that exact same throw. Purdy was pressured and throws it up in real time, dude. I had a heart attack. My heart stopped for a second because I'm like, oh my god, this ball is floating up there, and then just out of nowhere, Juwan Jennings comes up, rips it down, and it's a first down. Yeah. And like I said, Juwan Jennings stepped up in this game. He had a fantastic game. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring up Brian Baldinger's breakdown. Here's his @ on Twitter. It's @BaldyNFL. So here, I'm gonna start it from the beginning. That's right.
Niners are down 21-17 in the fourth quarter. It's 3rd and 10. Brock Purdy's not having a great day. The 49ers offense has been stuck in the rain. The rain hasn't stopped. You get a twist done. Kenny Clark coming up the field. Here comes Preston Smith putting a hit right there on Brock Purdy. He doesn't even see the ball. There's Keyshawn Nixon trying to get as high as he can. Can't get a fingertip on it to Juwan Jennings. Like, those are the type of throws. You see the jubilation over here by Brandon Ayuk. Like, those are the throws. You just go, man, you got to have some serious onions to make that throw in the middle of the field.
Yeah. So Brock Purdy did have some serious onions on that throw, I will say. I don't know if I would use that same exact language. I might use different way to describe it, but yeah, he had the onions. Man, so keep going on your notes.
Yep. As for the Packers offense, Matt LaFleur, in my opinion, was simply outcoaching Kyle Shanahan. And this was something I talked about last week. Matt LaFleur being a top-tier coach and a top-tier, offensive play caller, but also in his ability to game plan. He is very, very good. Some offensive play calls were just beautiful, including the 2-point conversion that got the Packers up 21-14. I was sitting there watching this game alone, just going, "Oh my God, that is how you do it. That's how you do it." And I know in our group chat this is a little off topic, but Lions game, the Buccaneers is, if you want to call it controversial, but the Buccaneers scored a touchdown late in this game against the Lions. I know, again, off topic, but maybe 4 minutes left in the game. Mike Evans touchdown, and then the Buccaneers, still down a touchdown, decide to go for 2. So they want to be down 6 instead of 7. Obviously, they don't get it. They go down 8. Baker Mayfield gets the ball, and he throws a fade back left corner of the end zone to Mike Evans. And they don't get it. No PI. I'm like, okay, well, now if you score a touchdown, you have to go for 2. What are we doing, right? And I said in our group chat, that was a dumb play call. I would rather scheme somebody open than essentially pray and do a short yardage Hail Mary, but it's one-on-one, if that makes sense. Just a little fade to Mike Evans. Like, yeah, it might work a lot of the times, but it also might not work. And then you're really digging yourself a deeper hole. Whereas Matt LaFleur, back to the Niner game, on this 2-point conversion, they go up 20-14 or 19-14. And the Packers had trips to the right, 3 receivers, right? Aaron Jones in the backfield. Fred Warner is manned up on Aaron Jones. The wide receivers all run slants to the left, right? So they take their corners with them. But in the meantime, Fred Warner's trying to get through, and the wide receivers have just built a wall between them and the defensive backs that are on them. Fred Warner cannot get through. Aaron Jones is wide open in the flat. Easy 2 points. That is scheming the guy open to a T. Absolute beauty of a play. So again, Packers go up 21-14 entering the fourth quarter. And this is where I have the stat about Shanahan being 0-30, now 1-30, when down 5+ entering the fourth quarter. 8.5 minutes left in the game. Packers up 21-17. Niners just punted. Aaron Jones gets the snap near the 10-yard line and runs 53 yards down the field. Not looking good, I put in my notes. Not looking good. 6.5 minutes left. 3rd and 9 for the Packers on the 24-yard line. The Niners send the blitz on cover 0. Incomplete pass or whatever the hell happens. Anders Carlson misses the field goal. Niners down 4. Niners get the ball, drive down the field. CMC gets the touchdown on 3rd and 1. And this is the note that I have here. LaFleur interestingly chose not to use any of his 3 timeouts at the end of this drive, whether it was before or after the 2-minute warning. And he lets it get down to 1 minute and 7 left. Down 24-21. They have all 3 timeouts, but they could have had 2 minutes. And then, of course, Jordan Love on the next drive throws a pass across the field, off his back feet into triple coverage, picked off. Dre Greenlaw. Dre Greenlaw, who wanted nothing less than a pick six for some fucking reason on this play.
Yeah.
Even the announcers are like completely neutral in this game, and they're going, "Go down, go down! What are you doing?" So
yeah, I've actually got something to share from East Bay Chris on Twitter. I love this tweet. It says, "I just drove down the 680, and Dre Greenlaw was still running around with the football. Someone tell him to go down already."
yeah, for real.
Yeah, that made me crack up when I saw it. Shout out to Chris. Man, yeah. Shanahan, I think, talked about it today, and apparently, I guess they weren't too hard on Dre Greenlaw, but he mentioned that Dre Greenlaw learned his lesson and will go down next time. So I don't know what that means, but I think Greenlaw, mentioned something before the game that Fred Warner said that they needed a pick six. You know, if you just go down, the game is over. If you get the pick six, I think the Packers might have a better chance of winning the game if there's a pick six because they would be getting the ball back after, and
Yeah,
then
and
they
then they could
score a quick touchdown. Like you put the ball back in their hands.
right.
Like,
They could get an
you know,
onside kick.
I love the effort, and Dre Greenlaw, you were the player of the game. You got 2 interceptions in this game, and you really made the whole difference in the ball game. Please, next time. I mean, it sounds like you're going to do it. Go down for just the sake of like securing the victory. You made the play. It was fantastic.
Yep.
And then one thing I want to say about LaFleur saving the timeouts, I don't think it was the worst thing in the world because the last thing that LaFleur, I think, wants to do is be using the timeouts to benefit the 49ers and have them, be able to catch their breath because they're an older team going against a younger team. If anything, you want to conserve those timeouts. Maybe the 49ers don't score. Maybe they do score. And then that way you understand that when you have the ball on offense, yeah, there's a minute left, but there's a minute 7 left, I think you said. There's plenty of time to drive down the field with the 3 timeouts, especially with the way the 49ers play defense. They really play soft coverage and allow, players to just they allow the wide receivers to get the ball, but they're not going to let you beat them over the top. So, I think one of the first plays was like a quick throw to the receiver on a curl route, on the left side. I don't know which receiver it was because again, the Packers have like a great wide receiver room, whereas they don't have like Devontae Adams anymore being like the dominant, X receiver. But oh my God, that ending was just like, it didn't feel like we won the game. It felt like we survived. It really felt like the 49ers, like everything was just going against them in this game and they survived. And that's all that matters in the playoffs. A win is a win, no matter how you get it. The 49ers are alive for at least one more week.
Yeah, I think between the way that the Packers were playing, the way that they game planned, the weather, being rainy, Purdy having, some inaccuracy issues. Like I said, I think because of the rain, there was literally a play where he was drying his hand mid pass or, play. As he's holding the ball with his left hand, he's drying his throwing hand and then he puts it back and throws. It's like, it's clear that the rain was affecting him. Then you lose Debo again. They had a lot of stuff going against them. But I think at the end of the day, what happened was the Niners top end roster, I don't want to call it saved itself, but made up for maybe being outcoached.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would put it,
Yeah, I think it's no question that the 49ers, or at least Kyle Shanahan, was outcoached in this game. They looked like a team that, they went into the game with, not playing much football in the past 3 weeks. And, maybe Purdy was a little bit rusty going into the game with that throw that he made to Darnell Savage that should have been intercepted. But like I said, the 49ers survived. They battled and they overcame almost every adversity that I think that could have gone wrong against the 49ers all in one game. Like, Debo got hurt. They're 0-3 this year without Debo.
Mm.
Debo went down in the Cleveland game, and then it was raining in that one. So, like, this was like the Cleveland game, like I said, all over again with a different outcome. Jake Moody stepped up, made the field goal this time, and 49ers drove down the field, won it. Yeah, that game still just has me like, my blood pressure still gets elevated thinking about that game. And I'm not going to lie, I feel a little less confident about the 49ers going forward than I did before the game. But, really anything can happen any given week. And the 49ers can very well return to playing 49er football. And another thing, where was Kyle Juszczyk in this game? I didn't even notice him at all.
Mm.
Like, I feel like there was a lot of empty backfields, and, I would have loved to see the 49ers just like take it to the Packers, like directly. Like, I don't know what that was all about, but hopefully the 49ers can step it up. Maybe Kyle Shanahan just has like one game every single playoff run every year where he just has a meltdown. Maybe it's one game every year, and Shanahan will just like return to normal going forward. Like, he got it out of the way, a little bit of the yips,
Mhm.
but maybe he'll be fine now. I'm only praying. And to just cap off the Packers recap, this is getting ridiculous. Get down, Dre. Shout out to East Bay Chris again.
Sources say he's still running with the football.
Yeah. Legend has it, if you really listen, you can hear the fans screaming, "Get down, Dre. Get down." You even see there's even an angle where John Lynch is in the background. There's an angle. They got John Lynch, "Go down."
Yeah.
He's on the sideline. Dude.
Yeah, you just know Greenlaw had tunnel vision. He's only looking at the other guys. Who's going to tackle me? Like, trying not to get tackled, but he needs to be looking at like his teammates like, "Oh, go down. Oh, slide."
Dude,
Yeah.
okay, so you know how like in recent 49er playoff history, there's always a moment in every postseason run where like that loses the 49ers the game. What if Dre Greenlaw, like, just out of nowhere, doesn't see the guy behind him, knocks it out, the Packers get the ball after that, and and score, and the 49ers lose the game? That would be the moment. That would have been the moment. But it didn't happen, so we don't have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's get to some comments real quick. Joel says, "What it do?" Joel, thank you again for tuning back in. We appreciate you coming to the Niners side of the show. We'll get to some Raider talk later. And then Pia's dad says, that's a play that they practice. I think this is talking about the Juwan Jennings play. That's a play that they practice a lot, and if you look, it's used in lots of plays. And I think he also says that same play was done a couple times, and it was overthrown at least two times. I'll try and look for it and send it to you. Yeah, Mr. C, send it to me, and I'll take a look at it.
Maybe if it was overthrown, maybe he's talking about the Purdy to Juwan Jennings play, or
I think it was the Purdy to Juwan Jennings play, because I think that's when I noticed those comments popped up. So, Joel says, it was surprising to see the Packers run all over the Niners. Honestly, I don't think it was that surprising.
Well, that's scary because of who you're facing next week, but I wouldn't say the Niners or the Packers ran all over the Niners. I would say they got a few chunk plays, but when it mattered, like the 4th and 1 stop, the Niners got the stops. It was, I think I read that Aaron Jones maybe had like 115 total yards. And bear in mind, he had 53 on one carry. So he was getting stopped here and there. There was also that other guy, number 31. I don't even know his name because it wasn't A.J. Dillon. I think he was out for this game. I think
it was Wilson.
Maybe, but there was one play.
His name was Wilson.
The drive leading up to the missed field goal, I thought the Packers were doing it, dude. I was really like, oh my God, because there were like 2 plays in a row where they ran the ball, and maybe this is what Joel's talking about, or Joel. With that number 31 guy, where there was one run to the left, he got like maybe 7 yards. Then he did a run to the right, and he hurdled somebody. And I don't know what it is about hurdling. I was like, that's a momentum like play.
Yeah.
Like now the Packers are like, oh hell yeah. But then they get stopped, kick the field goal, miss, momentum shattered. So yeah.
Yeah, I still was on the edge of my seat. I didn't know that they were going to win, but apparently you did.
No, as a Niner fan, I wouldn't expect you to be in there like, oh, they missed the field goal. We're winning. Like, you're going, oh, that gives us a really good shot. For me, I was like, they just missed that field goal. I know this Niners roster. They have McCaffrey. They have Trent Williams. They still have Brandon Ayuk on the field. Purdy. They're going to get it done. They're just going to. And if they
Brandon
don't.
Ayuk.
Go
ahead. Finish your thought. My bad.
Well, if they don't, it was probably going to be because of a turnover, which isn't guaranteed to be because of the team. It's probably because of the weather. I don't know. And that could be the reason why, you wouldn't be confident. But I was just like, if they go and score this and they don't give the Packers time, this thing's over. And the Packers end up with 1 minute left. Jordan Love's out there again, scrambling all over the place in the final drive because he doesn't have enough time. Throws an errant throw and boom.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Brandon Ayuk was like quiet for most of this game, and then he also had this one play that was dropped, but he immediately made up for it. I think on the same series on like a key 3rd down where Purdy threw it at Ayuk's shoelaces, and Ayuk was just able to catch it with no problem. Like he made it look easy, but that's a tough catch. And then there was another play where Ayuk had to make like a diving catch that was also a great play. And you see a lot of plays like that in the NFL where a lot of times the guys, they get the ball and then the ball hits the ground and moves a little bit and they call it back. But Ayuk, for most of the season, I feel like has been very consistent in keeping the ball, keeping his arms under the ball. So, it was a great play. But
hey, it was a great game. Oh, I'll say that much. Crazy game.
There's no reason why it should have been that kind of game. I blame Kyle Shanahan for that. Just run the ball. Run the ball.
Yeah.
You have the Packers.
If the Packers
number one rushing offense, come on.
Yeah. If the Packers had beaten you guys, a week after doing what they did to the Cowboys, it would have just been like, oh, who are they? Mm-hmm. Holy shit,
And then the Packers had already beaten the Lions. Maybe the Packers would have went on to the Super Bowl. You never know. They are a hot football team.
Yeah, that was 100% a thought in my head because I was like, I expect the Lions to beat the Bucks. They did. Mm-hmm. But that's a divisional matchup. That's like if the Chargers faced off against the Chiefs. It'd be like, it could go either way,
Yeah. So, real quick, I forgot to finish my thought or like my final thought on this comment. So I saw somewhere, or at least I heard somewhere, I think I was listening to Rob Stats Guerrera and Vish Kumaran. They were talking about the 49er game against the Packers. And I guess by some metric, or maybe the stats just dictate this, the 49ers have the number 1 run defense in the NFL, maybe in like yards given up. That's probably it. And on paper they are, and Vish absolutely acknowledges this, on paper they are, but like, if you watch the games, there's a reason why, the 49ers have such a good run defense. And it's because of the way that the game changes when the 49ers are up. This 49ers team, I feel like their vulnerabilities are like the short passing game and, the rushes, honestly, like any kind of rushing attack, but a lot of teams, when they play the 49ers, their offense has to keep up with the Niners or the game's just going to slip away from them. You can't just keep running the ball against this 49er team when they're up by multiple scores on you. The Niners play like a really tough brand of football where it's like, they're going to get ahead and they're going to stay ahead. And you have to make plays. And, most of the time, Purdy's not going to turn the ball over. You have to make plays to try and win the game. But it's like a chess match and they checkmate you every single time. It's like, we'll give you the run, but if you're going to run, you're going to run out the clock. So,
Yep.
yeah. And then Joel also says, Packers are a young team, man. They're a problem if they keep playing like that. Yeah. If you give them some, like, actual pieces going forward, like, they have a pretty good core of wide receivers right now. What happened?
No, it's not breaking news. I'll just try to show this on the screen. It's from Dov Kleinman. No, it's not even real. No.
No?
It's a joke, but it's probably true. I was going to say this later, but this is about the Niners and Lions game. I thought it was real, but it says a map of who America is rooting for. You know what, though? It kind of feels like, okay. I'm sorry for cutting you
We'll
off.
get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah,
We'll get to
yeah,
that.
yeah. Go ahead.